Hello, welcome. This is a series I just decided I would start doing where I just like talk about albums that to me are personal, just 10 out of 10s. I would call 10 out of 10s. And I just talk about why I love them so much and why they're great albums, what they mean to me, go through the track list, talk about basically what makes an album so special. And my desk is like such a messy mess. Thank God it's not paying lower. I have like these Pop Tarts, just a nice thing of Pop Tarts here, and just uh, I've just been down in a bunch of chocolate milk the past few days, so there's just glasses anywhere. I mean, that's off topic, but today today we're gonna be talking about Josh A's 2019 album Disgrace. Now, I guess for like a little bit of a brief backstory behind this album, this was like a year. Obviously, listen to the album is like a dark period of time for Josh, but also a very interesting combo because I feel like 2019 was like a big year where he kind of really his music started taking off, but also he refers to a lot of it like in retrospect is like the worst time of his life. So it's very interesting, how like an artist, it's like things can be going great number wise, but that doesn't exactly mean like mentally or whatever. Just like personally, they're doing as great, as the music is, and stuff. And you can really hear that in here. If there's an album that I would really compare it to, kind of like I don't want to use the word like compare and stuff because it's like it's not like a copycat scenario or anything like that, but because I came back to this album recently actually. That's the album "Come Over When You're Sober" Part One, by Lil Peep, and specifically that album. I feel like you listen to it and I know Josh A is a Lil Peep fan, but you hear like there's definitely like a lot of sonic influence going on there, and I think that works to his benefit a lot here. And another cool thing to note is that the final track on this album, "Save Me," is essentially I feel like a kind of a transition track into his next album, "You're Not Alone," which is like another amazing album. I actually have that one on CD, but it's cool because I feel like "Save Me" was like kind of hinting at the "You're Not Alone" sound before "You're Not Alone" even came out, which is really cool. But 2019, apparently in an interview, he talks about like he kind of made this album like on the road a bit because he was like touring a lot throughout 2019, right? So he kind of made this on the road and stuff, and just as it's cool because he kind of I feel like documented what the whole experience what that whole experience was. And you can really hear that show up on this album. So I'm just gonna be going track by track here. And this album is just really special to me because 2023 honestly felt like what 2019 was like for Josh, because 2023 was just like a terrible year for me for so many reasons. But this album honestly like came at the perfect point in time in my life, and for that reason, I hold it as like a very special album to me, in my opinion. And everyone has different thoughts on this. To me, this is easily Josh's best album, in my opinion. He has like "You're Not Alone" is probably like a really close second, and I also like I really like "Lonely Vibes" too, in the deluxe version of that. But "Disgrace," for the reasons I'm gonna talk about today, "Disgrace" is like easily just I put it at number one, because I feel like I said, this is to me just every single track is a 10 out of 10 to me. It all really like one track flows into the next so seamlessly. I feel like each part in the album you're getting a different kind of feel, even though it's all pretty consistent, and the mixing as well is very consistent and under the same sound while switching it up enough. And this is just a great album. So I'm gonna go over this album just track by track, song by song, and talk about the parts I love, and just basically this is just a whole video dedicated to me gushing over this album. I feel like it's also appropriate because it looks like we may get Disgrace too. Judging by Josh's Twitter, he says 94%, and the art looks like Disgrace type art. So it looks like we're going to be getting Disgrace too. That's my prediction. I think that's kind of everyone's predictions. He says 94%. Listen, dude, like take your time. You don't have to keep updating us. Like, don't tell us the album is like almost done mixing if you haven't like just keep us updated. Like, yo, you take your time. All right, you come back when you're ready. we'll be waiting, because the best art takes time to create, I feel like. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about Disgrace today. So, track one, Disgrace. This is it's a very simple song, like structure wise and everything, and it's very straight and to the point, which is like a lot of the songs, on this album, of course. But it starts with that guitar loop that I made a Reddit post about how like that guitar loop is just like so common now in like emo-trap songs and stuff. But I feel like this song uses that guitar loop really really well compared to like other songs I've heard that use it. It fits perfectly. And lyrically it seems to, I mean, lyrically, this, I'm not gonna say it's one noted, but the lyrics that are, I'm a guess and say that like, well, there's a few lyrical themes I noticed that pop up a lot. One is like heartbreak, of course, which you get a lot on Save Our Souls with Jake, but it also really, bleeds into this album as well. So you get a lot of heartbreak. Obviously, like he's going through some maybe like suicidal, thoughts and feelings, and that just very, people call this like it's almost like Josh's like mental breakdown album. So there's a lot of that, and usual talk about like depression and stuff and everything, and a lot of common Josh topics like people switching up on you, and all that. Disgrace is a track that also I feel like you kind of feel a lot of regret from Josh, because it's like there's a side of like, okay, like you didn't call me back, you left me in the darkness and all this, but there's also this there's always, I feel like there's also this kind of vibe that's like Josh also, like there's also like this regret of like, oh, why like I, because a lot of his songs he kind of talks about like shutting people out too, and like kind of his regrets maybe throughout it and all that. But I'm also just gonna listen to some of these songs to just like refresh myself a little bit. So I mean, take a look at Disgrace. Yeah, this is so. And like the production on this, I talked about "Come Over Your Sober" Part 1 by Lil Peep, and the production is very much like on that same wave. And it's honestly great. The production is consistently really good throughout this album. And of course, in You're Not Alone, the album after this, like it gets a lot bigger and is more NF inspired, which is great. But I I think they're both greatly produced in different ways. Some people would say You're Not Alone is a huge production upgrade, and it does introduce more instruments, a lot more strings, and it maybe feels more bigger, wider space. But the production on Disgrace is still really amazing, in my opinion. So I think it's just two different types of production. I wouldn't really say one is greater than the other. I think both You're Not Alone and Disgrace have like great production in their own ways. But let me just like refresh myself here. And this chorus is so. And this another thing too, and why I personally consider this album a 10 out of 10 is that his flows on this album do not miss. Constantly, you were getting some really catchy. Don't get me wrong, just because it's catchy doesn't mean it's not real. And he's talking about it's very real. Trust me, like subject matter wise, but it's so the flows he hits on this album are just so consistently intriguing. And if they don't hit you right off the bat, they'll quickly start to grow on you, and you'll understand. Like I remember when I first heard like January Never Ends, I was like, I know that track was kind of hyped up a little bit, so I listened to it and I'm like, huh, like it struck me as different at first because I wasn't expecting like the singing bits to kind of go the way they did, but I listened to it now and I'm like, this makes perfect sense. Like I couldn't picture this song going any other way. It's also interesting because I feel like whenever I first like I dipped my toes into Disgrace. That sounds so weird. What happened was like I came across Disgrace. I dipped my toes into it for a bit, and for a second I couldn't even make it all the way through. So I'm like, this is such a dark sound, and it was like a point in time where I was like, I don't know if I want to like man, I need to be in the right headspace for it. But now I've listened to it so much that's just like the norm. It's just like it's just my I don't know. I'm just like used to it now, I guess. Yeah, the chorus, of course, in the song is like catchy, grabs you right away. I love his voice. Some people may say like they hate like the nasally tone of it. I think it's great. I think the chorus is insanely catchy. I think he just Josh A is just a pro at flows at this point, especially with Lil Revive. Flow's always haunted, man. But no, his flip like this album. I know I brought it up already, but I can't harp on it enough that his flows on this album are incredible. It's just effortless, it's natural, but it's so catchy. Definitely one of his most catchy projects. Like you can listen to this album front to back and not get bored, and it's like you can just do it over and over again. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this thing just front and back, and it's amazing. But yeah, I think that's all really I can talk about for Disgrace. If I don't want to, like the title track, if I don't want to make this video like 5 hours long, or maybe I will, that's okay. Like, yeah, 808s, great. Yeah. Yeah. I said everything I need to say about it, really. It's a great intro track. I couldn't picture a better track starting off the album. And I'm going to just move on to the next song, Lone Wolf Squad. Not discussed with the title track, man. Great song. Lone Wolf Squad is a very beefy track, if you know what I mean. A lot of beef backstory here. And the theory, which I believe it makes sense, but we'll call it a theory because I don't want to spit stuff that may not be true. But was it Noel Miller, I think? You know, that like is often like with Quadeca and stuff and all that. That apparently like there was something going on, like maybe they're gonna work on a track and stuff. But Noel kind of switched up because like if you guys don't remember, in 2019, basically there was that big thing where you know, Josh and Jake, you know, were like, you know, we're not gonna perform, you know, at this one venue because Morrissey was like, you know, put like a meat ban, whatever, you know. Because he was like vegan or something. He's like, you know me at the venue, and they like had their Chick-fil-A and stuff. They're like, we're not gonna, you know, we're not here for this, right? So it's like they canceled the show. Kind of got a ton of heat for it. And like, you know, and then later on like a podcast episode with Cody Ko and Noel kind of talked about it, kind of like, you know, laughing at them a little bit, saying that they sounded like divas for doing that. But apparently sound like Noel and Josh were going to work with him before this, so it looked like Noel kind of switched up on him. So in Lone Wolf Squad, that kind of gets brought up a little bit. And that's just a theory, a Josh A theory that I honestly believe, but, you know, we don't really know for sure at the end of the day. We may know for sure, I don't know. I'm just saying what I know. But Lone Wolf Squad, all right, it's a simple, you know, Josh has so many bangers, and this is just another one of them. You know, and this is one of the first, we heard Josh scream like prior to this, right, in songs like No Breaks and stuff, and all that, and I think this was like, it's interesting, like, because I feel like, honestly, like, the screaming on here works perfectly, like, it works perfectly. Right, but it's cool to hear like how Josh has kind of perfected that over the years. You hear him do that one scream on Outlaw that is like amazing, and you hear his scream on the song Grim Reaper from the album Grim Reaper for like a split second, and that's amazing, and that's on Lil Revive. So it's like definitely like I think the screaming here works the way it does. But it's cool to like hear how much he's like kind of done with it over the years and stuff. But I'm gonna play some of Lone Wolf Squad just because I said I want to refresh myself here. Yeah, dude, the beat like yeah, the beats are all different, but so consistently under this sound. It's very gritty. The mixing is all
I don't really give a fuck about the fame.
Yeah. Oh man, this is a casual Josh A flexer, you know, super dark tone again, like that part that
feeling great, yep, I was born and bred. Only mud was a life, I'm right with all the shit. I don't go on the maze, said on the break. I'm a name, I'm about be at the stage, I'm saying the same like you work.
Yeah, here it is.
You don't waste all that hate, just pay my bills, I'm feeling great. Yeah, pretend like you don't know me anymore. I guess I get it. You don't wanna get involved with all the shit.
It's gotta be about Noel, dude. You can't tell me it's not.
But it's funny you.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just a great song. Like I feel like again I've said as much as I could with it. You know, I mean, you listen to the song, all right, it's great, classic Josh A banger. It just has this album just feels like Josh A on his period. And it's great, dude. You know. So anyway, Decay is the next one. Very much under the same vein of Lone Wolf Squad, but different. Of course, you get those spooky choir vocals coming in at the beginning and stuff. He comes in hot with the flow, as usual. You know, and this is just, again, like, Josh is absolutely pissed on this album, having a mental breakdown, and it really shines in the song. I love the fucking gunshots. You know, I'm always a bit scared when I drive to this song because I always like I blast this album, I have the windows down and stuff and all that. So I'm like, I feel bad when I'm like driving past a quiet neighborhood and I just like I'm blasting, so it's like you get murked. I'm like, oh god. And it's also Decay is interesting because it samples Lowlife in the beginning. Pitches it down a little bit. You can hear that keep a case with that ammo, but there ain't a, you know, and that's like in the beginning and stuff. So it's cool. He sampled Lowlife in that song. But Decay, is one of the songs I've honestly like less to say about because it's like it's very similar to Lone Wolf Squad and like I don't know. Let me listen to it again just so I can refresh myself as usual. Yeah, the spooky choir vocals.
Yeah,
Lowlife sample. Yeah.
my enemies, I've been working every night, throwing back to the trilogy.
Yeah, just another classic Josh A. Flex about how the dude gets like zero sleep, but is still out lapping you. And is, you know, yeah, and of course he's like sleep is for the dead and all that. You know, you get murked. Yeah, that's all I can really say about it. I don't want to like over talk about it and just like run laps over the same points I've been going
I
over.
could be the one to dodge, I try to dodge all day, toss my luck. Hey, if that means I own everything.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So far, again, you listen to the album, and so far it's like 3 for 3. Again, Decay is similar to Lone Wolf Squad, but is very much in its own lane, you know. So anyway, So Tired is this is where an album. This is the three song back to back combo that I personally like probably replay the most. I replay So Tired, Paranoia, and Suicide Benz back to back so many times. It's absolutely crazy. And I feel like these songs, you know how I talked about earlier, how you know, there's different sections on the album, and each one, even though it's consistently under the same vibe, it's like a different kind of, you know, era you're in with the album a little bit. I don't want to say era, that's not the right word, but I feel like, you know, Lone Wolf Squad and Decay are very much under this same vein. So Tired, Paranoia, and Suicide Benz I would categorize under this like small category. I Miss My Ex, Sleepless, and January Never Ends I would categorize under the category where it gets a bit softer. And then it picks back up again with Outbreak and Lowlife, you know, and I put those two in a category, and of course, and so on and all that. So Tired is where the album like starts really hitting me in the feels. So Tired and Paranoia and Suicide Benz are, again, I feel like they really thematically work together. So Tired is an insanely short song, but when you're listening to it, it's just like it. Of course, when you finish the song, it's like, wow, that went by insanely quick. But it's, and I, you know, I can't really say much for the song because the song speaks for itself so much. You would have to listen for yourself, obviously. This song is like so, it gets me in my feels, dude. Because you can really hear like how, you know, he often talks, you know, it's like this album was made with his touring a lot and on the road and stuff, and you can really hear that, just like the like, you know, fuck, dude. You know, it's like it you really hear that sense of like, you know, doing, you know, having so much success, but it's almost like it's over. You know, because people often think, I feel like, okay, all this success happens to you. You're making so, like, how could you be sad? You know, how could you be feeling this way? It's like, shut up. You know, you should be grateful and stuff and all that. And I feel like this song kind of, he's like, let me find some lyrics in here. Because I can't think of them off the top of my head. Like, usually I can, but.
Cause I'm so tired, running from the fire, feeling kinda low, yeah, so I get higher. Running from the
that snare roll's nice too. Yeah.
I will never look back, I don't wanna back in my hands.
Yeah, he's like, too much money in my hands. I don't, you know, he can't comprehend what he's doing, all that. And like, you know, age 2022, he's like, you know, feel like, you know, pick out my casket and stuff. Like, you know, of course, like dark lyrics like that. But like, again, like just talking about, it's like, you know, no matter how much money you make, you know, no matter how well you're doing and stuff, it's like that anxiety can even affect you, you know. Because you may say like, oh, how can like the love of money and stuff like make you feel these negative things? But it's like, it's a lot to manage, because A, it's like you don't want to lose it, right? B, it's like people can switch up on you and stuff. You don't, you know, more people potentially using you and stuff, and it's just, you know, it's overwhelming, because like I said before, it's like you want to maintain it, but it's like you may also, like in Josh's position, you may also feel this kind of guilt and sense of like responsibility, you know, because like all these people have helped you, you know, to put you into this, you know, position, So it's like you feel bad like whenever it's like maybe you start to feel like maybe you're like ungrateful because you're in this place where it's like you're still I don't want to ramble for too long. I tend to do that, but like yeah, and that's essentially like the basis of the song. I feel like again you have to listen to it. This is where the album like really sinks into that territory that personally like hits me the deepest. So that's all I really have to say for So Tired. Yeah, and I feel like this song kind of is also that expectation. Like he thought he'd be in this place kind of where it's like, maybe years ago he thought like he'd be in this place where he is at this point, where it's like, all right, I got no worries. Like how could if I get to this place, then everything will kind of fix itself. Like. Yeah, again, he flows great on this song. I'm gonna stop talking about So Tired before I cry. Okay, Paranoia. Paranoia is insanely similar to So Tired, and that's not a complaint at all. I just mean like thematically, they work together super well. Similar drums, similar kind of length. As far as like how long the song goes on for, and is very very similar. And the lyrics. I don't want to call the lyrics on this album as a whole shallow. It's not that they're shallow. It's the fact because I feel like the way they work with instrumentation makes you like he says the most simple things, right? But you feel the depth of those simple things because of the instrumentals, and the way they work into the vocals and stuff. I think that's a good way to really describe a lot of this album as a whole to people who may not think there's a lot of depth in it, because I say there is. I say this album has a lot of depth. People may say Disgrace is like not a super like deep piece of work. I say it very much is. Because yeah, I love like you may look at the lyrics for Paranoia. I feel like be like, oh, that's very vague. That's very general. But I feel like just the way it comes, I can't even word it, dude. It's the way it comes across and the way it works with the instrumental really makes you feel what he's talking about. I'm gonna play the song, just to remind myself of a lot of the lyrics, because I like not that these songs like blend together for me. It's that like I just like because I listen to this album so much, but it's like I have to like really listen to it to like point out things on the spot sometimes. Oh yeah, definitely. It's like you can really hear that sense of heartbreak start to slip in that he really dives into in Suicide Benz. So it's kind of a preview for that, which I love. I love it when he like kind of gives away what he's gonna do for like the next thing. He subtly hints it in like a song or an album before. Paranoia, you can hear that kind of topic of heartbreak being thrown back in there a little bit. Like every day and night, you still haunt me. It's almost a combo between So Tired and Suicide Benz, which I think is pretty cool. I close my eyes, I'm so paralyzed. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely heavy on the heartbreak topic, similar to Suicide Benz. Oh, you're not sorry. Every single day and night you still on me. Also very similar to Disgrace too. I've been so down tonight and I close my eyes, I'm so paralyzed and I'm falling down. Another fantastic song. I call you not sorry. Call you not sorry. Yeah, and again, also production-wise, of course, like that reverse guitar, so come over when you're sober, part one by Lil Peep. But that's a compliment in every single way, because that is a great project, and the influence that album has on this album is amazing. It works great. So Paranoia, I can't really have much to say about. It's very much again like similar vein to So Tired, but more I'd say into the topic of heartbreak that Suicide Benz fully fleshes out. So that's all I'm gonna say about Paranoia. Great song. Again, every song on this album to me is like a 10 out of 10. So you're gonna get nothing but compliments from me on this album. Not that if there is flaws, I point them out. But this album to me is honestly it's a 10 out of 10. And I know a lot of people will disagree. Because you may say things about like, oh, save me the hook, and just some people this just isn't for them. That's like a discount Lil Peep type thing. And I disagree. So this video is just me explaining why this is entirely staying up for this album, and people love this album too. But I'm just saying this is just me. Again, like I said before, this is a video of just me gushing about my favorite Josh A album. I'm gonna make sure this is still recording here. Okay, so the next song. Oh my god, I gotta prep myself. All right, for Okay, so Suicide Benz. Ooh, dude, Suicide Benz. There, I'm even struggling just to begin the words of how much I could say about Suicide Benz. Okay, so for starters, this song should have so many more views than it does. It like so many more. How this song didn't get so much bigger is beyond me. Like I don't understand how Suicide Benz is like not more known just like and like like here's the thing. Suicide Benz is also a great example of why you need to listen to a song all the way through, front to back. My heart goes out to the people who listened to Suicide Benz and got bored after the halfway point and decided to skip it. Because this song, and I may catch some shit for this, you know, because some people, I get comments a lot saying I overreact about music. I get fascinated by like the easiest things. All right, I don't give a fuck. All right, I love the things I love so much, and I hold no guilt for getting all crazy and specific and happy about why I think something is great. So if you want to shit on me for praising this album or Suicide Benz, then go for it. Fuck you, because this shit is amazing, okay? So Suicide Benz is a fucking one of the most genius songs I have ever heard, okay? Ever. It's easily Josh A's best song he's ever made. All right, I know he said I listened to podcasts. He said his favorite songs were like Outlaw and Pain. So, yo, no, I'm not hating you, Josh, for your favorite. You know, hey, and I know Disgrace was a very dark period of time for Josh. He probably does not want to even perform any of these songs live because it was such a dark period of time. But, dude, Suicide Benz is a S tier song, okay? And look, the lyrics are so simple, so just SoundCloud and honestly just trashy, but so perfect. But 10 out of 10 perfect. I want a pretty girl with face tats. Someone just to make the time pass. You look at that on paper, you think, man, that is the most garbo shit. But you listen to it in the song, and something about it just works so well. Both beats work insanely well. It's the best. I said it once, I'll say it again. Best song of this album. Easily the best song Josh has probably ever released. Josh has released some amazing music. Okay, don't get me wrong. And under Lil Revive. This to me is just on a whole other level. Suicide Benz, and it is what seals that deal, man. You know what I'm gonna say. It's the outro, dude. It's the rock switch up. I don't. Oh my god, and this song. Look, dude, this song got me through a terrible breakup, and maybe that is why I hold such high praise to Suicide Benz. But I owe a lot to this song, all right. And if you, hey yo, if you have gotten your heart broken, all right, and you need something to get you through, you need something that is just gonna make you feel those feelings out. You need something that's gonna hit those emotional chords. If you listen to Suicide Benz like I did 1,000 times over, eventually I promise you things may get better. No, but for real, Suicide Benz. If you're in a dark place, like if you, I honestly highly like this is a breakup starter pack song right here. Suicide Benz. If if you're going through some heartbreak, man, Suicide Benz is gonna hit different. And even if you're not, right? I'm over my last girl, but I listen to this now and I still think it sounds amazing and it sounds fresh. So you can listen to this at any time and it's still great. So, of course, the intro, the simple guitar immediately just brings you into this mood. Like, okay, this is gonna be more like every song on this album is serious, but it brings you into that vibe, right? So, yeah. So the simple, you know. The chorus does not get old. You have no idea how many times I've played this song. I've played this song probably at least, I feel like 100,000 times. That's an over-exaggeration. But I've played this song an unholy amount of times at this point, and it has not shrunk on me. It never, even if I have to take a small break from it, I will forever love this song. When you think it's the end, I try, but she don't want to pretend. So simple. So, I don't want to even say lyrically shallow, but yeah, very lyrically simple, but it could not, it cannot be any other way. It's perfect, okay? It's perfect. And Yo, I'm gonna just play this part. I'm gonna let it play. I'm gonna let you feel the emotions, okay? Because it is, like, dude.
Like you understand, so keep the heart you stole. You made out like a bandit. I can't escape the piece of me that loved you.
You can't tell me that's
more than you could see. I can't escape the thought of you with someone else. I'd rather die. I might drown tonight with my friends. I'm flying.
That guitar too, dude. The way the guitar goes up in that part, then dude. Oh, and the guitar he does there, dude. So, oh my god. Oh my god. So good. Little like mini breakdown here, I guess. Wait, listen to the way the guitar comes back here, right? Alright. You can't even shit on me for being so excited about music like this. When you hear that, and like, how is that not just amazing? I don't get it. This song should have so many views. I should probably just go to the next song before I continue to talk about this song for another century. This song is genius. This song is emotionally just compelling in so many ways. And it is 5,000 out of 10 Suicide Benz. Like sorry, I just have to read some of these lyrics out loud because like dude, it's such simple lyrics too, but there's just something about the way it's produced, the way he says it, like just the simple lyrics. I can't escape the piece of me that loved you more than you could see. Like, and the way, like, I know it's like so small, and you may think I'm over it. I don't care. All right, I'm done. I'm done with the hate. I'm done with the bullshit. Okay, I love gushing about music like this. It's fun. Okay, yeah. Dug my grave. I gave it like been down ever since I came. God, dude. All right, I'm done talking about that song before I go on about it forever. Anyways, next song, I Miss My Ex. All right, this is the cool down period. I Miss My Ex all the way up until January Never Ends, like the cool down period, because I feel like up until then it's very like I don't know what to call it, but I feel like I Miss My Ex up until January Never Ends. It gets a bit softer. The drums especially, I noticed like they get a bit softer and stuff. So this is like kind of the soft point of the album, but I Miss My Ex. And I don't know if at the end that little voice message is from his actual ex, or if it's just some random girl, yeah, from like that he just found it online and was like, oh, that sounds like a good fit into the song, so I'm gonna throw that in there. I have no clue. I Miss My Ex is very much, I feel like a cool down song after that very intense just song run up until that point. But it's also like very sad reflection, of course, obviously the title, you know what it is, about his ex, you get that, that sad reflection period and stuff. Just kind of that point of like, man, of kind of craving it back and stuff, because I feel like post breakup is an interesting thing because it's like you kind of like hold a lot of resent, but at the same time, there are those moments where it's kind of like happy reflection. You think about, okay, well, like what could have, if this could have worked out, how great that could have been, or reflection upon the good days, or just like, and I feel like this song is kind of that, that heavy kind of like, that like I want you back kind of vibe. Like I gave it all away to spend my time with you, because it sounds like it's like, something with Josh's like career, maybe like music kind of gone the way and stuff, and like, oh, like what if I just gave that up and dedicated all my time to you instead? Like what could that have been, So I feel like that's what that song kind of is, and instrumentally this song is a lot softer too. Just that very simple guitar, lay me down the dirt, I can just, it very much is a song that drags on, not in a way that makes it slow or boring, but it just has this vibe, you're kind of like just kind of barely making it through, that's what I mean by that. So in it, it's the perfect slowdown point, honestly, after Suicide Bench, which I feel like it's you kind of need a breath like that after so much emotional intensity, that the last few songs brought. So, not that this song isn't like it doesn't hold as much emotion, but it's like like I said, it's the cool down point.
I don't want nothing but you, girl. I don't want nothing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and like basically like question like what's the point? Like what's the point without this person? Like what are you gonna do now? It's like it's very much that point. Like that was your whole world. What's how are you gonna go through? And then the next track, Sleepless, which I'm gonna go on to, it's very similar. Kind of continues off that. So we're gonna actually talk about Sleepless next. And that sample, I don't know if that's the same. That's probably like the same dude that they. Cause now that dude creates so many samples. I hear like the one in "Stay" by Jake Hill. A lot of like the XXX Tentacion. Jocelyn Flores. That was like one maybe like, and then like "London on My Mind" by Jake. Maybe I don't know, but I just feel like you hear that specific like doing like those guitar samples a lot. I know he has a name. And I found it at a point. I just can't think of it at the top of my head right now. Give me a break. But that sample kind of kicks off the song. Basically like, yo, I can't sleep. That's the whole song stuff and all that. But and yeah, just basically feeling like, that emotion of like, it's kind of hopeless to go on when it feels like everything you gain, like you only see it, like you can't even enjoy when you have things. Or something good happens, because all you can think about is whenever this thing will come to an end, this is the experience of that, why Josh may think that way, because like everything that seems to come to his life that's good, just seems to just kind of flop or go away or just come to an end, like he says in the song, and yeah, and he's sleepless because of it. So yeah, and again also kind of that's and again also like kind of the sacrifices that he naturally has to make because of his lifestyle. Like he comes home, and it may not even like really feel like home, or he may kind of feel like a stranger in his own home, maybe because he's been so on the road, so drifted from his his friends that he knew and stuff, and just kind of living this lifestyle, and stuff. So he may not even feel like he can go back to that as a place, as a source of kind of like to ground yourself and stuff, because no one can really relate to that lifestyle. So sounds like he goes over that a bit too. Yep, and again like kind of like how he talks about like in the like often when Josh discusses breakups, it's often like it's kind of that he has to put his music first, because there's like an Ivan B song, is like "Don't Look Down." It's like if it was for like the music, I'd be dead. So why wouldn't I choose it? I feel like that's also Josh's mentality. He's like listen, I just can't be there for you, because like this music is like so important, and he knows that. He knows the bite of that. Like in the last song, he's like last song he kind of ponders upon like, oh, if I gave this up and in turn like spend time with this person, would that be the right move? And this song kind of like goes over similar stuff, I guess, and that's about all I gotta say about that. Lonely vibe. Yeah, that's about all I can say about Sleepless. So after Sleepless, we have January Never Ends, which I feel like is the last of like the trilogy we get of like that period where it kind of slows down. It really picks up with Outbreak, of course, but January Never Ends was the biggest grower on this album for me, for sure. I wasn't really feeling the song on the first listen, but now it's just a seamless listen. I like it. It's perfect. Fits perfectly on the album. All right. It's interesting too, because on this song, he talks about how him and Darko used to like skip class and stuff. And I didn't even know that like him and Darko were like friends for that long. So it kind of like is a bit of a bummer, because I know they had like a like that kind of fell apart. There's like a whole like thing there and all that. Like I don't know if they're friends anymore. I know like something happened. But again, just talking about like really being this song, I feel like really just talks about being homesick a lot. And whenever and kind of I feel like kind of touches upon like he doesn't really know anything else at this point, like besides like this making music and everything. It's just kind of all he really knows how to. It's just become like everything for him, you know. So he's like when he's like I go home, it's like, you know, I barely roam, you know. But when he goes outside, you know, his own, it's like it just doesn't feel right, you know. He feels alone and stuff. So it's like he just goes back to what he knows best, you know. Just chilling, you know, spin lyrics off a dome, watch a horror movie, you know, because, you know, anything else to him just like doesn't feel right anymore, you know. But it's also, you know, when he's out like on the road and stuff. I want to speak a bunch of stuff this intro. I'm gonna take a listen to this song just to refresh myself. Beautiful guitar. Drums are very similar to the last, you know, two songs. You know, a lot kind of softer.
I just wanna waste time with my friends. I just wanna live the past again.
Yeah, basically just talking about like, man, you know, he's living this lifestyle now, but it's like just, you know, pondering like, oh well, if I could, you know, just like go back in time, because he can't really do the things that he used to anymore, you know, because of touring, and all that, and just like reflecting on like, man, you know, I really miss that. I feel like it's a very nostalgia driven song, you know, about just wanting to pass back, you know, very simple. A lot of songs talk about it, but this one does in its own way, in a way that is personal to Josh.
Like January never ends.
And it's like a joke now. I feel like every single January, every time January, every time like every February 1st, it's like aw, January never ends, but it does.
Being 15, but now I'll reminisce.
Yep.
On the times when life was easier, the times I could have.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, talk about, you know, in the moment, like in those younger days, you kind of almost want to be older and you want to grow up and all that. And then you get to a point later where it's like, well, you realize that at that point, like you had no idea what you had, man. And now it's like you're older and you want to go back. It's interesting how that works, because I definitely feel that. I feel like when I was like younger, I wanted to grow up quick and I wanted to be an adult and stuff, and now you want to go back. So you're never really happy, like where you're at. And I feel like that's common among a lot of people. Yeah, and it's fun the connections you can make throughout Josh's music. Cause here's like I was, you know, skating in my driveway, listening to rap and all this stuff, and all his earlier works he talked about. He was like, you know, getting his heart broken by girls, bumping Tyler the Creator, bumping Wolf, you know. It's cool to like see those consistencies pop up, because it just shows like how true they are to Josh. And I think that's cool. Yep. Yeah, again, it's fascinating to me. It's like how, yeah, that sounds a bit, you know, it's like man, it's like if you could go back to your old self, you know, and kind of just like be like, hey man, like you don't. It reminds me of like the album Ruiner by Nothing Nowhere. Like he talks about in the song, is like, when I see a group of kids at the spot, I want to shake them. I tell them they don't know what they got. And it's like kind of similar, like hearing stuff. It's like he wishes he could go back almost and tell his old self, like, you know, you don't know what you have, man. And that's, I don't want to talk about like way too much and, you know, start running laps on stuff again, you know. But that's like basically everything you gotta say about January Never Ends. Great song. That ends that back-to-back combo from I Miss My Ex all the way up until that point. And yeah, and one last thing I want to point out, like it's interesting to me how he says it's like, you know, like all this success has happened, but for some reason that's the exact same time that everything seems to be going wrong. Like when stuff is going good, like when numbers are going up, maybe you're getting more exposure, the music is doing great. For some reason, that's always the exact same time that stuff in your personal life just starts falling apart. And I really relate to that. So I just want to point out that, I guess. So next, we kick off the like from Outbreak to Lowlife, like says, like feels like, you know, where he kicks back into that like, you know, real aggressive mode. And this is interesting because this is before Quadeca. Like Quadeca was making music at this point, but like this is before he like really, you know, found his like where he created some works that were like really switching it up for him. It really made him known like as that like, whoa, Quadeca did, like I don't need to say anymore, really. Like you guys know what I mean. Like, you know, before Quadeca made some like really amazing, like his music, not to trash on his music before that, but you know, before he made some albums that like were really like critically acclaimed and stuff. It's like Quadeca shows up here. I just find that really interesting, because Josh A was kind of on the wave early. Just for the sake that I know Josh A used to, especially I know love like collaborating with like YouTubers and stuff like Leon Lush on that Bucko feature, which we're not going to talk about. I'm sorry, and this is a disgrace. We're talking about Disgrace, and I'm gonna piss some people off because I know some people love. I know some people love the the Leon Lush Bucko feature. For the sake of not like potentially setting a comment section on fire, or igniting my dislike to like ratio, I'm gonna keep my mouth silent on that. But just for the fact that I said that, you could probably guess what my thoughts are. That Leon Lush ruined Bucko, man. I'm sorry. He ruined Bucko. All right. Anyway, next. But yeah, talking about Outbreak. This is another classic Josh A banger, but you get Quadeca on it, and I okay. So my camera like kind of the storage on my camera got full midway through me talking about Outbreak, so I'm kind of just gonna summarize everything I said. But I was saying like how it was interesting, like he featured Quadeca before Quadeca really released some like insane albums, and like I think like it was in 2020 or something. Let me see here. Hold up. It was like I didn't mean to haunt you. That was like 2022, and that was like insanely creative acclaimed and stuff. So it's like it's interesting to see like him on like a Josh A track for that. Anyway, but Outbreak, just another great Josh A banger. The beat is super simple, but it gives me a lot of like it's something like I know like he throws in a lot of gaming references in there. So to that, a lot of you may say it's like you could play like Call of Duty to this song. I wasn't a Call of Duty kid. I was a CS:GO kid, Counter Strike. So I would that's my version of it. I would yeah, I would some I'd frag some noobs to Outbreak, man. But like yeah, Outbreak, like I said, simple beat.
As a result of the outbreak,
The news report thing. Josh A, predicted COVID. Obviously, he's yeah. If it wasn't for Josh A, not. Yeah, I mean it's definitely interesting to hear like the the news report in the beginning, because this was 2019, shortly before COVID started and stuff. So, he obviously predicted that they're going to get a similar news report at the end of Lowlife that we will talk about shortly. But Outbreak is just another great. I would have similar things to say about Outbreak that I did like when Wolf Squad and Decay. Just another great Josh A banger about how he gets zero sleep, and is overlapping you still, and how he's going through absolute hell, but he's still stacking in those reps, man, getting in those numbers. And the Quadeca feature, I don't really have much to say about other than it slaps, and they're like on the same level. There's not really, it's not like Josh is doing better than Quadeca. It's like they both put in their effort. For the school project, they both get an A plus. They both did great. They work great together. Easily one of my favorite Josh A features, because they, typically I would say like, oh, if it's not like a Double J song, then one person may be lacking a little bit, because sometimes Josh in the past has gotten like YouTubers or someone else on songs, and they just sound like they're not putting in as much effort, or maybe it just doesn't fit, or it sounds like he was getting them on the track just to be on the track, and maybe if they don't contribute anything great. But here Quadeca contributes some great stuff. It fits perfectly on the track. It's great. So that's like I reset a lot of what I try to remember that I said after the camera cut out. So I think I got everything I need to say about Outbreak. And Lowlife we talked about a bit before with the backstory. Just about how the whole meat band thing, which apparently like I honestly I find it regardless of everything, I find it kind of funny. Looking back on it and stuff. But apparently like you look at a Twitter reply and stuff, and it was like the meat band may not have even been because of Morrissey, but because the venue just had a meat band. And they contacted Jake and Josh beforehand about it, but they were apparently acting like divas about the whole thing. Still, that is what people have said. I'm not saying Jake Hill were divas. All right, don't come after me. All right, I'm a big fan of both. I'm on their side because we got this fire track out of it. But I find that whole thing a bit bizarre and funny looking back on it. It spawned Lowlife, and if that whole thing, which is what caused maybe Noel to turn on Jake, then maybe he could have been the feature on Outbreak. And instead, we got Quadeca because the whole thing fell apart, and that feature is obviously fire. So maybe blessing in disguise. You know, I mean, either way, it's a blessing in disguise because we got Lowlife, which is an absolute amazing song that they released pretty quickly after that whole thing went down. So it's not rushed at all. It sounds amazing. I'm just amazed at the fact of how quickly they got Lowlife out. So I mean, yeah, it's just Josh's verse on this is absolutely wild, and there's another version of it out there that you can find. And both, in my opinion, are great. I love this one. There's another one where he's screaming a lot more. And this is the part that is sampled on Decay. That little intro bit that Jake does. I keep a case with the so Decay sample.
I keep a case with that ammo in it. Ain't no time to brace when I break. Motherfucker, I'm coming right for your face. For the pain, venom inside of me coming at you.
Yeah, I saw it was just filled with just heat, fire. This album cover is what the, you know, that's what this shit I see in my head easily. Of course, I see the album cover, by the way, is perfect. It fits. It just fits so well. Like that. A great album cover too. Anyway, but yeah, that's about all I can really say about Lowlife. Not much other than the fact that like it's crazy how quick they came out with this after that whole thing went down, and not that they're really addressing it directly, except for like the very end where they throw in the news reports and stuff. You know, which I find kind of funny because like that shit wouldn't end their careers. Are you kidding me? Like that little thing, like it would like nah, dude. So overall, the track is just like, you know, hey, fuck you, we're gonna keep doing our thing. You know, just play the show, cash in some bank off of the shit you're throwing at us. So can't complain, you know. So that's about all I have to say about Lowlife, I guess. Not really much I can say, but it's also the shortest song on the album. So that's that. You know, really more backstory to talk about with that song than the actual song, even though the actual song's still great. Next, you have Darkness, Josh A, that Lil Revive feature, which if he didn't add the Lil Revive feature, it would have made like no difference. But I guess it's actually I take that back. Wait. No, like because I know like I like yeah, Josh A and like Lil Revive are like the, you know, the same thing and stuff. I'm like it's just like it's interesting because he could easily like he could just throw featuring Lil Revive on any of these songs and be like, oh okay, you know, because you know it's Josh and stuff. So it's interesting that Darkness that in Darkness he lists that Lil Revive shows up because it is a song like where he kind of goes more in depth into like, you know, how the suicidal thoughts still haunt him and stuff. And Lil Revive I feel like is that darker part of him kind of trying to take him down. So it makes sense actually why the Lil Revive feature shows up here because it really is that inner voice, I feel like. So Darkness, really another just, you know, a quick, you know, it's a quick one, you know, it hits you then it goes, but it's a great song. It's a catchy chorus, it's simple, and I really find it interesting how in this song he goes from he's like when I fall asleep sometimes. He says, when I fall asleep sometimes, he's like, I'm scared I'll never wake up. And then it goes from that to, I pray I'll never wake up. So I think that's, like, pretty interesting there. Just, like, you know, the kind of, you know, how those thoughts go about, you know. So let me just listen as usual to refresh myself.
Yeah, cover the motive you
That's Lowlife. Guitar, yeah, again, great beats throughout this album. Simple guitar works well. And my life till the Reaper, I'm sorry.
My life till the Reaper, I'm sorry.
Okay, oh my god, that part is so underrated. Hold up. Yo, can I just point out what the beat does here? Because it's such a little thing, but great switch up. Like, listen to this. Wait for it. You hear that? That is nice. That's nice. That's a nice little production thing that he does there. I think is great. But yeah, like I said, it's pretty interesting they feature Lil Revive here, considering the top. You know, he's been going through these kind of topics throughout the album, but he gets more in depth into like the suicidal thoughts here. And I find it interesting that Lil Revive shows up as a feature there. So that to me is pretty interesting. Again, it's a short song, so there's not really as much I can say about it, that sense, or that it's as good as the rest. You know, it's great, love it. I'm trying to pick apart anything else here. Yeah, some some subtle flexes in there. Fell in my classes, but filling up the bank off of rapping now. you know.
I remember all the days when I could never go away. When I fall asleep, sometimes I pray. It'll never go. The sadness that pain, cause I made it off of rap. But the days when I couldn't feel my best, now I'm filling up the bank, cause I made it off of rap. But the sadness show. I remember all the days when I couldn't feel my best, now I'm filling up.
Yeah, I love how he says is like another lyric I love in here. He's like, could have been a doctor, but the music more essential. I feel like a common thing is like, oh, like I feel like the healing power of like you hear the saying of like music is medicine, like the healing power of music. It really is, like, honestly, like I feel like especially mentally, it is like a sense something that like has such great healing power that honestly I feel like it has as much power as someone who could like fix physical wounds and stuff, because like the internal matters just as much, and just internally, making sure you're free, freeing yourself from traumas, whatever, just getting through whatever struggles there is. And music is I feel like for many people plays like a big part in, healing that and making your way through that and surviving that. So, for Josh to say like, couldn't be a doctor, but man, the music more essential. I feel you, dude. I feel you. I like that lyric. I like that lyric. See here. Yeah, I can't even stand myself, so I can't love. Like that's another thing. It's like it's hard to give someone your best when you're like we're going through so much on your own, and Josh, like the pressure of music and everything. That's like it's hard to give yourself to someone else, dude, and it's hard to keep that balance. You may try your best, but it just sometimes naturally, even when you feel like you feel like you're giving as much as you can, that person may see it as neglect and like, oh, they don't care about me. But it's like listen, I'm trying my best, and it's like he says, can't even stand myself, so I can't love. But anyways, that's all I have to say about Darkness. Last song, Save Me. This is a song a lot of people say that the hook maybe is a bit cheesy, maybe a bit too NF-y, to whatever. Like, listen, whatever you have to say about it, I think it's perfect, and I think it works great. And especially for the fact that it is a nice transition point into You're Not Alone. It very much has that You're Not Alone sound, not on as big of a scale. Well, I feel like the mixing certainly isn't as big as You're Not Alone, but it still has that sound to it. And his verses in here are incredible. I will say, the verse he does in what is it, Runaway, on You're Not Alone, the last track, the verses on that and the verses here are very similar. Like the drums are very similar too. But this is a great outro track in my eyes, because it concludes. I feel like just like look that transition. Like I feel like Disgrace was Josh getting that mental breakdown off his chest, and You're Not Alone was kind of diving into the why of that and really reflecting upon it and taking that step to become better. And I feel like Save Me is that point immediately after the breakdown is over. Like, okay, I'm gonna start writing this down. Now I'm gonna dive into this. So for that, Save Me is really incredible. Yeah, dude, I guess like people don't really like that hook because it's not what you'd really hear from Josh A specifically. It's more of like it sounds like a very radio song type of thing, or very, like I said, NF and stuff. So I feel like it catches a lot of people off guard, as like kind of like, oh, this is too maybe cheese, too pop or whatever. But I think it works really great. And I think his verses are amazing, like I said. Yeah, dude. Yeah, this is basically, it feels like the summary of like kind of him just realizing like I said, the end to just all the other songs on this album and just being like, look, I do not want to be in this place anymore. Realizing the dangers of it, realizing where it can take him, and just being like, just reaching out for someone to just like kind of help him through that, you know?
So I could feel something like, yeah, I'm finally
Interesting. I clicked on the lyrics for Save Me. It says, you'll have to guess the lyrics for this one. Like, just to remind myself.
At night I stare up at the ceiling, racing thoughts, I can't sleep. It's getting harder to breathe.
Yeah, this is a sad one, man. This is definitely a sad one because it's just him basically. Because it honestly feels like the summary of everything he has discussed on the album, and just basically being like, look, because I feel like up until this point in the album, it was just kind of letting out in the expression of it, and this feels like the point where he's like, I want out of it, and I need help, as the chorus says, and that is like really as. I want to say it's as like, let me listen more here. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. Thank God cause I was like, I feel like I have more to say about the song, and there is, because there is a great reference back to his song "Better Days" in this. That gives me chills. This part gives me chills because like the strings sound really nice here. He's like, I wrote about better days, but now I think it's just a fantasy. Like,
think it's just a fact, so they just gave me pills and I'm the pain, but that don't work for me. I wrote about better days, but now I think it's just a fantasy, cause all I have are lesser days and everyone's abandoned me.
That part gives me chills. Like, it just gave me chills right now. And that part's giving me chills. The way the strings sound in that, and and just like, cause you feel that so real too. I'll forever love the fact that Josh makes real music, like really about his life experiences and stuff. But just like the fact that his journey through that, because in Fearless, like he talked about kind of like being put on meds and stuff, for what he was going through and all that. And here's like, that shit didn't work for me, and just like that, at that point of like, all right, there's more to this. I got to throw this shit away, and you're not always like starting therapy. He's digging through all these traumas and stuff, and I just like the reoccurring themes that just show up. Just shows to me like how real Josh A's music is to his actual life, which I respect him so much for, and I absolutely love. Because if you guys don't know, he has a song called "Better Days" off "Better Off Dead." And it's like I sometimes get sad listening to like old Josh A stuff that sounds like really more optimistic, and like hey, not to say like, because he obviously got better after this point, listen to like a lot of like Fearless 2, it's a lot happier and stuff and all that. But I hope he's doing good right now. I mean, consider we're getting a Disgrace too. I hope so. But like, yeah, dude, this song is so sad. But it's a great point to end off Disgrace, because like I said, it's the perfect transition point into You're Not Alone.
Try to chase nostalgia, but it never feels the same. So if I disappear, just know I'm in a better place.
Oh my god, dude. Ooh, yeah, dude, this song is so good, dude. And the hook is great. Honestly, it works well in my opinion. But like, man, dude, that part, like,
that don't work for me. It's numb and I'm stressed out. Walk around aimless, spinning doctors. Yeah, used to want to be famous, but right now I walk around aimless, spinning doctors, been to therapy, but they can find where the pain is. Told on my face, numb and I'm stressed out. Well, my career is the best now, so they just gave me pills and I'm the pain, but that don't work for me. I wrote about better days, but now I think it's just a fantasy, cause all I have are lesser days and everyone's abandoned me. I try to chase nostalgia, but it never feels the same.
So much. So
if I disappear, just know I'm in a better place.
Yeah, that's all I can say about that, dude. Beautiful, beautiful, sad song, but perfect closer to this album. I said a million times over, it's the perfect transition point to You're Not Alone, and that's everything. I just went to every single song, talk about why Disgrace is a 10 out of 10 album for me, what makes it so great. I said everything I need to say, I think, man. Disgrace, it's 10 out of 10 album, my personal favorite Josh A album. Maybe when Disgrace 2 comes out, it'll be my personal favorite. I don't know. So, yeah. If you guys love this album too as much as I do, tell me in the comments, like, some of your favorite songs. why you think this album is great, maybe different opinions you have, what your favorite Josh A album is, favorite Double J album, if we're gonna get another Double J album ever. But Disgrace, was at a point in time where Josh was on the road a lot, on tour, going through a lot, obviously. And it came out on this album, and it came out as just a beautiful body of work that I'm so grateful for. And I know he went through some shit, to to get the result that this album is, but it is a fantastic album in my eyes. So that is it. First episode of me just talking about albums I love. Check out this album. I'll link in the description. And I feel like that at this point my channel is slowly becoming a Josh A / Lil Revive fanboy channel, and I'm okay with that, because I love Josh. I love Lil Revive. Just everything his music has done for me. I feel like I just owe the world to him. And at bare minimum, praise his work and make a video like this and talk about an album like this. So yeah, that's that. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.